The two largest cocoa producers are demanding manufacturers pay more to their growers. The argument focuses on the living income differential introduced by the Ivory Coast and Ghana in 2019, aimed at making chocolate manufacturers pay a bonus of $400 per tonne of cocoa to farmers. The cocoa you ask for is made for you, he says, but you don't buy it for the price you have to pay for it. The premiums you have to give us, we don't receive them. So it's like stealing. You steal from us. The big groups steal from us. They don't respect the contract and they don't respect us. They don't respect the farmers. We planters are poor, he says. The Westerners who come to buy cocoa are getting rich. Meanwhile, we farmers are suffering. We earn nothing. We suffer cultivating the fields. That's why we ask the government to help us. Farmers should receive around 6% of the value generated by the chocolate market. But while the cost has been factored into the price of the chocolate giants are clawing that back by putting pressure on other premiums based on the quality of cocoa beans. I'm angry, she says. I'm angry because farmers are working, but when the government sets the price per kilo of cocoa, the buyers on the ground do not respect that price. As farmers, we don't earn enough money while the cost of living has increased. A handful of multinationals buy almost all of the cocoa production in the Ivory Coast, and both countries are threatening to prohibit access to plantations if the pledges aren't respected by the 20th of November.
In the past couple of months, many Kinyarwanda-speaking Congolese, also known as Banyamulenge and Tutsi, have been announced killed in the DRC as they were suspected of being allies of the M23 rebels. While Congolese people make up to 60.43% of the total refugee population in Rwanda, living and doing businesses in the country, they share with African News what it's like to be a Congolese in Rwanda in times like this and amidst the political war between the two countries.
We are
not facing any issues in Rwanda. We, the Congolese, we are not affected by the war at all. We are doing very well and progressing with our businesses here in Rwanda. Most technicians, hairstylists and tailors here in Rwanda are Congolese and they have no complaints at all. I used to import my jewelry products from Congo. Now I have no way of importing them. I can't travel to Congo, I could get killed. My business has been affected badly, and I have had to put it on hold. Kenyan defense forces have been deployed in the DRC with a mandate to create a buffer zone between the DRC forces and the rebels of the M23 so that the fighting can hold. On Wednesday this week, Kenyan defense forces vowed to protect the strategic Goma airport in eastern DRC from possible attacks.
There have been a lot of issues between Rwanda and DRC. And mostly they originate from the genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi in Rwanda, and those perpetrators fled to DRC, were welcomed with their weapons and their ideology. They were never disarmed, and their military capabilities were increased because they are being armed by the Congolese government. So I think the involvement of Uganda and that of Kenya and to some extent that of Burundi are aimed at helping bring peace and security. But as I mentioned earlier, if those root causes of the conflict are not addressed, then the conflict will never end.
As the M23 rebels advances to control more regions in the eastern DRC, over 89 refugees have crossed over Kabuhanga border to seek refuge in Rwanda. Rwanda has denied supporting the M23 rebels. Dana Irizam in Kigali, Rwanda for African News.
For women in Mwingi, donkeys are helping them chart their own way to economic empowerment. Mwingi is partly semi-arid with less developed road network compared to other regions in the country. Donkeys are therefore playing a great role in the transport sector, and this is being spearheaded by women.
Punda kwangu inanisaidia sana.
I've used my donkey to sell water, firewood and sand. In a day, I make about $5, but on a good day, I can make up to $10. The proceeds enables me to get all my basic needs and also educate my children.
Natoa kwa punda.
Brookside East Africa and Caritas Kitui have been at the forefront helping the women maximize benefits from donkeys while ensuring the beast of burden is kept in good health.
So based on our observation, most of the donkeys were not being taken care of in the right way. People were just taking them as beasts of burden. So we realized there was a gap and we decided to get into that and bring all the stakeholders, that is donkey owners and users, larger community, and also professionals to begin to appreciate the economic value of the donkey in the region and ensure that we promote their welfare in their daily operations.
In this small village, Jos Printer heads a group of women who pull resources from donkey proceeds to make economic milestones while promoting personal growth of members.
Na sana nikiitishwa maji pahali na nikiitishwa.
When I get a contract to supply water, I do call the women in my group so that we can get money to buy food and take care of our families. From the proceeds of the work we do using our donkeys, we've been able to pull resources to pay for school fees for our children.
Tunalipia huo mtoto karo.
The number of women embracing the use of donkeys to facilitate transportation and income generation is on the increase, with success stories being the motivating factor.
We target to reach 18,250 women in a year, and as well we target to reach that 5,000 donkeys every year.
As much as the donkeys are being used to economically empower the women, concerns have been raised by Caritas Kitui on the dwindling number of donkeys due to the setting up of a slaughterhouse in the region. The concerned parties fear that the revenue streams of the women will be interrupted since donkey theft is on the rise. Ronald Agak for Africa News in Mwingi.
Representatives of the world's French-speaking countries gathered in Tunisia on Saturday for talks focused on economic cooperation. It comes more than a year after the country's president, Kais Saied, began an internationally criticised power grab. The two-day meeting will officially focus on technology and development, but it's also an opportunity for Western and African leaders to discuss issues like Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Around 30 heads of state and government are at the summit on the southern Tunisian resort island of Djerba. The meeting was postponed due to COVID-19 and delayed again last year after Saied sacked the government and suspended parliament. French President Emmanuel Macron said the International Organization of Francophonie should be a space of resistance and reconquest. Macron noted that in North Africa the use of French has declined over the past few decades. But the bloc has also been criticised for failing to use its clout to resolve crises. The world's French-speaking community is expected to reach 750 million by 2050. United Nations officials announced on Friday a second shipment of Russian fertilizer will go to West Africa after a first attempt was blocked in European ports because of sanctions imposed due to the conflict in Ukraine. The move follows talks between Moscow and the UN.
There are around 300,000 tons of fertilizer in the different European ports. The first shipping will get out of a Netherlands port going to Malawi, and the vessel is loading right now, and the date that has been established for the vessel to go is on the 21st of November to Malawi through Mozambique. Countries with respect.
The consignment is part of agreements signed in Istanbul in July to ensure unhindered access to food and fertilizer from Ukraine and Russia to the neediest countries in Africa.
Beyond Malawi, with the help of with the donation from Uralchem and Uralkali, the intervention of WFP, and the help of the World Bank and France, we hope that the next destination of the fertilizers will be West Africa, that has been very affected by the affordability crisis of fertilizers.
Last week, the Black Sea Grain Initiative was extended for 120 days from the 19th of November.
Sanctions and EU sanctions.